The internet has been buzzing non-stop as wild reports continue to circulate, painting a chaotic picture that no one saw coming. Whispers across social feeds insist that something explosive is unfolding behind the scenes, and every new post seems to spark even bigger waves of curiosity. People are asking the same question again and again: what exactly is going on between me, Tamar Braxton, Yandy and Travis Cure? The claims rushing through entertainment pages have created a storm, and fans are stunned at how intense these discussions have become. Some sources are repeating that a supposed secret connection between Mendeecees and Tamar Braxton has been the center of speculation, and the idea alone has left viewers glued to their screens. And then, as if the drama wasn't enough, new chatter suggests that a heartbroken Yandy might be leaning toward an unexpected, emotional decision involving Travis Cure. Emotions online are all over the place. Fans are debating every angle, and the conversation keeps getting deeper with every passing hour. The noise is so loud that even those who don't follow celebrity news are stopping to see what the fuss is about, wondering how far these claims will go next. The discussions spreading online began, turning into something much heavier when people started sharing what they claimed were private details about the emotional atmosphere inside Yandy and Mendeecees' household. Voices on different platforms described the situation as tense, saying that the energy between them had shifted long before the rumors about Tamar Braxton ever reached the surface. Some posts even suggested that Yandy had sensed something changing, but wasn't sure whether she was overthinking or whether her instincts were warning her about something deeper. Moments like these always hit the heart in strange ways, especially when a long relationship is involved. And that's exactly what kept fans glued to every update. People were speculating about what might have been happening behind closed doors and whether the couple had already been drifting apart long before these online reports started spreading. As the conversation grew, the claims about Mendeecees and Tamar Braxton kept gaining traction. Users on different platforms described scenes they believed hinted at a connection between them, using vague descriptions and mixed interpretations. Even though none of this was verified, the audience treated every detail like a major revelation. Some posts described how the two were allegedly spotted in places where no one expected to see them together. Others described moments that looked innocent to some, but suspicious to others. Fans debated fiercely, with some saying it was harmless and others insisting the atmosphere didn't feel casual at all. The split in opinions made everything even more intense as people tried to understand what these online stories were trying to suggest. In all this noise, the focus kept turning back to Yandy. Viewers who had followed her journey for years felt protective, and every new rumor created new waves of empathy for her. Many were writing emotional comments, imagining how heavy it must feel to deal with circulating claims like these. Some users said that Yandy had been deeply invested in her marriage, and that the idea of such a rumor alone would shake her to the core. Others added that this was not just about a relationship. It was about years of shared memories, sacrifices, and emotional commitment. The audience couldn't help but picture how painful it would be for someone who had stood strong in so many difficult times. The speculation grew even more when certain pages started describing what they called quiet tension around the couple. They suggested that Mendeecees had been distant lately, appearing in his own world, while Yandy tried to keep everything calm for the sake of their family. Some users wrote that she had been trying to hold on, hoping the energy would settle, but each new discussion online pulled her deeper into confusion. In some places, people even described her as trying to keep herself composed in public while holding back overwhelming emotions. This image touched the audience, and the conversations became more emotionally charged as they imagined her dealing with a storm she never asked for. Then came a new twist in these circulating reports. Some posts began claiming that Tamar Braxton had unknowingly become part of this situation. The way the story spread made it sound like she had no idea her presence would create such a ripple effect. Fans said she might not have expected her interactions to be interpreted in such a complicated way. The image of her being pulled into a narrative she never intended to be part of added another layer of drama. People debated about whether she had any involvement at all or whether her name was being dragged into something far bigger than she realized. All these online whispers slowly shaped a picture of emotional imbalance, and viewers began trying to connect all the pieces. Many discussed how complicated relationships become when external noise grows louder than the people inside them. Emotional pressure can make even small misunderstandings feel like massive cracks. Commenters said that if Yandy truly had been feeling disconnected for a while, these circulating rumors would only deepen her pain. The idea of finding out through public discussions rather than private conversations is something that shook many fans. They imagined the shock, the disbelief, the hurt, and the emotional weight of facing a situation like that under the eyes of thousands. As the reports continued, a heartbreaking portrait of Yandy's emotional state began forming. Users described her as holding on to everything with trembling patience, trying to make sense of what the universe was throwing at her. They talked about her being torn between wanting answers and wanting peace. Some said she might have been replaying moments in her mind, trying to figure out if she had missed signs or if the rumors were simply spiraling out of control. The emotional toll that people associated with her situation felt heavy enough to silence even the most vocal commenters for moments. But the drama online didn't stop there. Another cluster of posts added yet another dimension to the narrative, suggesting that Travis Kuro had recently been appearing in spaces connected to Yandy. People couldn't tell whether this was coincidence, friendship, or something deeper, but they shared theories without holding back. Some claimed that he had been offering support, while others implied a stronger bond forming in silence. It wasn't clear what the truth was, but the idea alone created an entirely new storyline for fans to dissect. Pages began writing about how emotional vulnerability often leads people to unexpected places, especially when they feel abandoned or broken. This entire situation created a wild circle of confusion with different names being pulled into the spotlight whether they wanted it or not. Emotions were being projected everywhere, and fans were divided between sympathy, shock, speculation, and disbelief. Some were asking how long Yandy had been carrying this emotional storm. Others wondered if Mendeecees realized how deeply these circulating claims were affecting her. And yet another group focused on Travis Kuro, trying to understand if he genuinely cared or if he was being misunderstood by people who were simply hungry for drama. Each rumor added new intensity, making the emotional landscape feel heavier by the day. Certain pages insisted that the silence between Yandy and Mendeecees had grown longer, like two people walking through opposite doors without realizing how far they were drifting. Others described her as trying to find strength, focusing on her peace and protecting her heart from shattering completely. All the noise swirling around her began turning into something more than background chatter. It became the foundation of her emotional decisions, shaping how she processed everything happening around her. Through all this, one thing stood out: the emotional exhaustion that people believed she was facing the situ. They pictured her lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how her life had suddenly turned into a whirlwind of accusations, emotional wounds, and unexpected names attached to her marriage. Moments like these can break even the strongest person, and the idea of her trying to hold herself together made people sympathize even more. Many online users said that heartbreak has a way of making the world feel smaller, quieter, and colder, especially when the betrayal feels personal. The comments reflected that sentiment, turning into a collective wave of empathy directed her way while the discussions around Yandy continued spreading. The claims involving Mendeecees and Tamar Braxton became more detailed in the online rumor mill. Some said they had seen them together more frequently than people realized, hinting at conversations that looked deeper than casual talk. Whether true or not, the descriptions were enough to shape a new emotional storm. Fans began analyzing every expression, every gesture, every small detail in the images being circulated. They argued over what seemed natural and what seemed suspicious, even though none of the content had concrete proof. The power of online speculation turned every tiny hint into a dramatic possibility. The emotional weight of these circulating claims started shifting toward men's as well. Some viewers said he seemed distracted lately, like someone carrying a secret he wasn't ready to face. Others imagined him avoiding direct confrontation, choosing to hide behind silence instead. Grew into a narrative of uncertainty, leaving everyone wondering what might be going on behind closed doors. Whenever he appeared publicly, people dissected his expressions as though they could decode the truth hidden within them. But the most surprising twist in the conversation came when the focus returned to Travis Kuro. People who had been following earlier updates noticed that his name was appearing more frequently in places connected to Yandy. The tone of the discussions changed completely, shifting from sympathy to curiosity. New posts described moments where he seemed genuinely supportive, acting like someone who understood her pain in a way others couldn't. Some viewers suggested that maybe he had stepped in at the right time, offering comfort without expecting anything in return. Others believed that their emotional connection might have been forming quietly away from the chaos. The idea of Travis being there for her in such a vulnerable moment sparked intense conversation. Users imagined him listening to her frustrations, reminding her that she deserved peace, respect, and emotional honesty. They described scenes where he might have encouraged her to focus on her happiness, rather than the noise surrounding her relationship. The thought alone was enough to ignite a new wave of theories. suggesting that her bond with him might be growing stronger as the weight of everything else pushed her further away from the past. Some posts even painted him as the calm within her storm, someone who didn't judge her or pressure her, but simply offered presence. People said that when a person feels shattered by betrayal, comfort from someone who truly listens can feel like oxygen. It can be soft, unexpected, and transformative. And that's what made the conversations about Travis even more intense. Certain fans wrote that emotional vulnerability often opens doors to connections that would never have formed otherwise, turning pain into the start of something new. The online narrative then shifted again, when pages began describing how the tension between Yandy and Mendeecees had reached a breaking point. Some suggested that she had reached the limit of her emotional endurance, unable to carry the weight of the rumors anymore. The idea of her confronting him started circulating through various posts. Painting the scene as raw and heavy, people imagined her gathering every ounce of courage to demand answers, her voice trembling between anger and heartbreak. Others imagined Mendeecees struggling to find the right words, caught between defensiveness and regret. Some fans described him as avoiding eye contact, while others imagined him trying to minimize the accusations. The emotional confrontation being discussed online took on a life of its own, with people describing the scene like they were witnessing it directly. Phrases like tension filling the room, silence cutting deeper than words, and pain spilling into every sentence spread across different comments, but the part that truly captivated the audience was the idea that Yandy, even in her pain, began recognizing her worth. Many posts described her as slowly realizing she couldn't keep living in emotional uncertainty. They said heartbreak can either destroy you or push you to rebuild yourself stronger than before. And people felt she was reaching that crucial turning point. Some claimed she had begun distancing herself emotionally, no longer looking at him with the same softness she once had. Others imagined her retreating into deep reflection, understanding that sometimes letting go is the only way to protect your peace. These discussions yield a powerful shift in the narrative. People began rooting for her, encouraging her to choose herself. The idea that she might find a new beginning became the central focus of many conversations. And this is where Travis Kerr's presence in the story grew even more intense. Community pages described how he appeared at exactly the moment when she needed someone steadfast, someone who could remind her that love doesn't always have to be painful. Some fans even said that fate sometimes brings the right person when life feels impossible. Rumors then began circulating that she had started confiding in Travis more deeply, trusting him with emotions she couldn't voice anywhere else. People imagined him offering genuine reassurance, helping her heal piece by piece. The more these details spread, the more the audience became convinced that something significant was developing between them. They saw it as a natural outcome of emotional comfort, meeting emotional emptiness to broken pieces fitting together in ways no one expected. All of this created a storm of speculation. Some users argued that she was simply seeking temporary solace, while others insisted that something meaningful was beginning to grow. But the one thing everyone agreed on was that Yandy was transforming. People believed she was discovering her strength again, moving away from heartbreak and towards something that felt like hope. And as these conversations kept traveling from one platform to another, a new claim began rising among fans. A claim that was about to shift the entire narrative into a direction no one had predicted. As more online chatter unfolded, people started imagining how Yandy's decision might have begun to take shape. The thought that she could finally move on became more than just speculation. Posts described quiet evenings where she supposedly reflected on her life, her relationships, and the kind of future she wanted. Fans pictured her contemplating what loyalty, trust, and love truly meant, realizing that she couldn't remain trapped in a situation that constantly reminded her of betrayal. The idea of starting over with someone who seemed genuinely supportive created a mix of excitement and anxiety in the online narrative. The conversation thon returned repeatedly to Travis Kerr. People imagined subtle gestures between them that felt significant, a hand placed on his shoulder during a moment of frustration, a soft word that felt like understanding, and glances that suggested a connection deeper than friendship. These small interactions became magnified in the minds of viewers, transforming ordinary moments into pivotal turning points in a developing relationship. The audience became invested, describing the way she might have felt seen and heard after so much emotional neglect. They said these moments could ignite trust in ways that previous experiences had destroyed. Meanwhile, the rumors about Mendeecees' secret romance with Tamar Braxton kept growing. Some suggested it wasn't just emotional betrayal, but something that had been hidden for months, perhaps even years. Fans imagined a heated online arguments, Friends and family divided in late-night confrontations where voices rose and hearts broke. They pictured the kind of tension that leaves rooms silent afterward, actions, but always stopping short of clarity. Fans interpreted his hesitation as either guilt or confusion, fueling a deeper fascination with the unfolding drama. The contrast between his uncertainty and Travis' calm reliability added layers to the online story, emphasizing the emotional stakes for Yandy. The narrative took another dramatic turn when fans began imagining moments of confrontation. Some described scenarios where she might have finally voiced everything she felt: anger, sadness, disappointment, and longing for respect. In these imagined confrontations, her words were sharp, precise, and full of the pain she had held back for so long. Others pictured Mendeecees' responses as defensive yet vulnerable, someone trying to maintain composure while facing the reality that his actions could no longer be ignored. The tension in these visualizations captivated viewers, making them feel like they were witnessing history unfold. During this phase, some users imagined her confiding in Travis about every detail. They described scenes of whispered conversations in quiet rooms, moments where tears fell, but trust was being rebuilt. This imagined support became a turning point in the online discussion, suggesting that emotional healing was not only possible, but actively happening. The community began to focus on the contrast: betrayal on one side and patient, empathetic presence on the other. It was a juxtaposition that added drama and kept viewers on edge. Meanwhile, some posts speculated about the wider social impact. People imagined mutual friends, family members, and colleagues observing the changes. Some were seen as sympathetic, offering words of encouragement to Yandy, while others were depicted as shocked or disapproving, creating a network of social tension. The narrative explored how gossip and speculation could intensify emotions, as every comment, post, or shared story seemed to amplify the drama unfolding. The family was depicted as divided, some siding with Yandy, others questioning her choices, while a few remained neutral, silently watching the emotional roller coaster. Fans then shifted to imagining public appearances. Some wrote about events where Yandy and Travis were seen together, the air thick with speculation. Photographers, social media users, and casual observers contributed to the growing story, capturing moments that seemed innocent but became loaded with potential meaning. Fans described every smile, gesture, and glance as